What is up, my fellow quirky people? Today I'm going to talk about one of the most exciting DCEU movies of 2022, especially how it might infuriate many fans of Zack Snyder's old DCEU plans. It is safe to say that 2022 will bring the best roster of DC movies we've seen so far in a year. DC might actually win from Marvel, as they've got 5 upcoming movies, while the MCU has just 3. Things will start off with Matt Reeves' dark and gritty take on the Batman. Then on the animated front, we'll get to see the companionship of Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart. They'll play Crypto the Super Dog and Ace the Bat Hound in DC League of Super Pets. Following that, Dwayne Johnson will change the hierarchy of the DC universe, leading as Black Adam from the front. The year will end with yet another badass Aquaman movie from Jason Momoa. But before that, we'll be getting what is arguably the most anticipated DC movie of the year. That is The Flash. Barry Allen will continue his story in a Flashpoint movie, where he tries to save his mother from dying. But as things would go horribly wrong with that, he'd end up opening the multiverse. So that would lead to Barry uniting with another Barry Allen from a different Earth. Sasha Calle's Supergirl, and most importantly, Michael Keaton's Batman. Ben Affleck's Batman will also be in the movie, but he is set to show up during the opening segment before Barry Allen cracks the multiverse open. Warner Bros. Has been continuing a cinematic universe that has felt confusing to many fans, and with Zack Snyder's Justice League, things have probably become even more confusing. That's why Warner Bros. Has been very adamant to not restore the Snyderverse. They have backed themselves into a corner. They can't restore the Snyderverse, even if they would be willing to, because they have already allotted a lot of resources into their new projects. So, they are looking for a fresh start. But there's a problem with that too, as they can't just abandon everything. Aquaman and Wonder Woman have worked for them, and they are building a big franchise with Shazam. It's just Batman, Superman, and now Cyborg that they don't want to continue with. Hear me out before you start making any judgments. They are committed to Walter Hamada's new vision, and I'm going to present multiple evidences to sustain my claims. There have been rumors that WB looks at The Flash as a tool to provide the DCEU a soft reboot. It will allow them to keep what they think has worked for them and push out everything they don't want to continue. And the biggest evidence for this comes through Batgirl. It has been reported that J.K. Simmons will return as Jim Gordon in Leslie Grace's Batgirl movie for HBO Max. But the twist in the tale is that Michael Keaton's Batman will be the one to become her mentor. As sad as it makes me to tell you this, the harsh reality is that Ben Affleck's Batman is being written out for good. And as Batgirl's report suggests, Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne from Earth 89 will become canon to the DCEU. Obviously, 2 Bruce Waynes cannot exist in one universe. And why would Keaton's Bruce jump to the DCEU just to become the mentor of Batgirl and then go back? His existence in Batgirl proves that Batfleck is being written out of the DCEU. To give you some more proof for that, let me tell you what director Andy Muschietti said when Ben Affleck agreed to return for The Flash back in 2020. And I quote, "Affleck's Batman has a dichotomy that is very strong, which is his masculinity, because of the way he looks and the imposing figure that he has and his jawline. But he's also very vulnerable. He knows how to deliver from the inside out, that vulnerability. He just needs a story that allows him to bring that contrast, that balance. He's a very substantial part of the emotional impact of the movie. The interaction and relationship between Barry and Affleck's Wayne will bring an emotional level that we haven't seen before. It's Barry's movie. It's Barry's story, but their characters are more related than we think. They both lost their mothers to murder, and that's one of the emotional vessels of the movie. That's where the Affleck Batman kicks in." Unquote. So, how will Affleck's Wayne have an emotional impact on the story? The Flash is not a traditional Flashpoint story. It won't involve Thomas Wayne's Batman, who would send a letter for Bruce through Barry.
You're one hell of a messenger. Thank you.
Instead of Thomas, we're getting Michael Keaton's Batman playing the older mentor figure. So, the only way Affleck's Batman can have an emotional impact will be by making a sacrifice. He might die in the beginning of the film, and his death could be the driving factor that pushes Barry to turn back time. Robert Pattinson is getting a rebooted Batman trilogy, so it is likely that Affleck would not have got his own movie simultaneously. It was because he couldn't finish his script and direct his movie, WB started looking at Matt Reeves, who wanted to do his own thing. Also, reports suggest that Affleck was done with filming his part for The Flash within a week. And as we saw through set photos and videos, this biking stunt was shot entirely by a stunt double. So, there's no doubt in my mind that Affleck would only be in the movie for a short while to be written out. Then, Michael Keaton will take over as DCEU's permanent Bruce Batman from there on out. At least WB has the courtesy to give Batman a proper send-off. They aren't even doing that for Superman and Cyborg. Henry Cavill has been pretty vocal about wanting to play Superman again. But so far, he hasn't signed on to return in Shazam! Fury of the Gods. And WB isn't interested in doing a Man of Steel 2 either. If they were, then the movie would have happened already. Instead, they are developing a Superman movie with a black actor in the lead. His film will probably take place in a different universe, just like Robert Pattinson's Batman. And meanwhile, in the DCEU, Sasha Calle will replace Superman for good. The proof for that is the report about General Zod. Apparently, both Zod and Faora are returning in The Flash. How they'll be involved in the story is unknown for now, but as far as I can think, WB could be retconning the events of Man of Steel. We could get a flashback where the two villains could have fought Calle's Supergirl in a different universe, and by the end of Flash, Calle's Lara Lane Kent could become permanent in the DCEU, just like Keaton's Bruce Wayne. From there on, she might even get a solo movie in the DCEU, as Superman might have been written out for good. Now coming to Cyborg, Ray Fisher was actually offered to appear in The Flash, but as everyone knows, he had a falling out with DC Films president Walter Hamada. He has claimed that he won't play Cyborg until Hamada apologizes to him. So, we can be sure that Cyborg will be written out too. Now all these evidences have left us with the next lineup of Justice League, which apparently won't involve Henry Cavill's Superman, Ben Affleck's Batman, and Ray Fisher's Cyborg. Instead, the new roster will be led by Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot is rumored to appear in Shazam 2, and she is going to be starring in Wonder Woman 3. So after that, we might see her reunite a Justice League 2.0. The second most obvious member in the team will be Aquaman. Jason Momoa's Arthur Curry is DC's big money maker. After featuring in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, the King of Atlantis could also have a cameo in Wonder Woman 3, as per reports. So, his appearance over there could probably lead us directly into Justice League 2. Number 3 will have The Flash. Barry Allen will be a mainstay for the Justice League, since his film is the one that is rebooting the whole lineup. He'd continue to play a Spider-Man-like role in the film, and along with him, we'd also get Shazam! Shazam has always been a fan of the other superheroes in the DCEU, and Zachary Levi has been adamant about DC crossovers. So, the next crossover will surely include him. Number 5, Supergirl. As I've suggested, Superman is being written out as WB probably has some sort of beef with Henry Cavill. And they've been very excited to add Supergirl to the DCEU. So, she'd be the Superman replacement in the Justice League lineup. Number 6, Bruce Wayne. Michael Keaton may or may not show up in the older Batman in his Justice League lineup, but he is said to play a Nick Fury-like role in the future of DCEU. So, he would probably be the brains in this team, also providing them with the financial resources. And he will even bring in his own new protege, Batgirl. After starring in her own movie, it would make sense for Leslie Grace to be added to the Justice League as well. So far, we don't know whether the Blue Beetle movie could take place in the DCEU or not. If it does, the Blue Beetle could act as a potential replacement for Cyborg. Justice League was a movie that did not make any profits for WB. WB probably feels that the brand is tainted. That's why they started to distance themselves from the film and started focusing on solo projects instead. But after the next 2-3 years, they could bring us this softly rebooted Justice League 2 with a few new characters. But will it bode well for the fans? Would you guys accept a DCEU-based Justice League movie without Ben Affleck's Batman or Henry Cavill's Superman? Or are you still hoping for the Snyderverse to be restored? Snyder is certainly asking fans not to lose hope just yet. But still, let us know your thoughts and preferences on the matter. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. And don't forget to check out some more fun content on our channel. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.